Kyle Schwarber comes through. 3 bombs. Now, I just want you to imagine the pressure here. They throw him in there like they threw 2 other guys, and your responsibility is to hit a home run on pitches that you see, 3 swings. Now, if you don't think that's pressure, I don't know what is pressure. But he steps up and bang, and he one legs and goes down on the one knee to get that low pitch to hit the home run, the deciding home run. Fabulous. I don't think he should have been the MVP, but in fact, in games like this where you don't have enough playing time for guys, where you're subbing guys in and out, and you're using 100 pitchers, there's not enough time for you to be an MVP. So I don't think a guy who went 0 for 2 in the actual game and then hit 3 home runs in the swing-off should be the MVP. In fact, they should ban MVPs from the All-Star game. There shouldn't be MVPs because nobody's worthy. Nobody plays enough to be an MVP. Ray Dunn is with us today. Ray, what did you think of the All-Star game?
Loved it. Absolutely loved the swing-off last night. That was an electric way to conclude that game. The fact that you get all those guys giddy like kids pretty much standing up there watching their teammates just hanging on every single BP pitch was awesome.
It was.
I also think Kyle Schwarber now has entered the territory where if he is not in the home run derby next year, there will be a lot of questions.
Yeah, but of course he always has the right, as we learned about Zach Wheeler, not to participate.
He will have the right.
It would have been nice for Zach Wheeler to be there to root on his teammate, wouldn't it?
He's rooting on from home. Had the baby in one hand.
You know what he's watching? He was watching Netflix last night. He probably wasn't even watching the All-Star game.
And that is his right.
Don't get me started. All right?
I didn't. I quite literally did not get you started. You brought it up for a third straight day.
It's still in my crawl about him. But anyway, I really like the fact that they mic'd those guys up. Oh, yeah, Cal Raleigh didn't say anything. You know, I'm thinking the catcher, like I wanted to hear the catcher talk to the batter. Like, what's up?
Oh, you want to hear those conversations?
Yeah, like, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, I'm doing good. Like that would have been interesting. Because the batter doesn't know he's mic'd up, right?
I would have.
Because you're talking to your pitcher, and the pitcher's going, okay, I'm going to throw a change up here. I thought Kershaw was fantastic.
We'll have some of that later on in the news at noon.
We will.
But I mean, maybe Cal Raleigh's giving them I'm wearing a wired thing. I don't know. Like, hey, man, watch out.
No. He's just going to say, like, being cordial. Hey, you doing? How was your All-Star experience? Like, something like that. You guys having fun over there? Something like that. Come on, Cal.
It's a lot of pressure for this guy. All of a sudden, he's the biggest star in baseball. He had a nickname, Big Dumper. No one ever assumed this guy was going to be the biggest star. They would have given him a real nickname.
But you see why the All-Star game is great. That was a great game last night. When it was 6-0, I kind of lost interest. I went to the Sixers. I was bouncing around TV. All of a sudden, the American League comes back, and Robert Suarez couldn't get anybody out, and it turns into a tie. Exciting. It's the purity. It's the only pure game, man, where a pitcher's trying to get a hitter out. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good watch last night. It was a nice casual watch.
All right, so we're going to talk about that. Kyle Schwarber being the MVP. And Eagles camp. I mean, we got to zero in now on Eagles camp and start talking about it's less than 2 weeks away. And today, I think we need to analyze the offense. There's something that Harry Douglas is, he's a former player in the league. I don't really put a lot of stock into what he says, but he kind of laid out the Eagles offensive coordinator as the guy who's on the hot seat this year, Kevin Patullo. And I guess, it's an obvious thing to say. Can we hear what Harry Douglas had to say here, Ray?
I'm going to go with offensive coordinator Kevin Patullo. And I want to go back to 2024, the year they just won the Super Bowl, right? The first 4 games of the year, they were 2-2. And Jalen Hurts in each one of those games either threw the ball 30 or 30 or more times. Kellen Moore understood that, okay, that had to go down a little bit. We need to run the football, lean on Saquon Barkley, lean on our offensive line. Now, with Kevin Patullo coming in being the offensive coordinator, is he going to realize that, hey, I need to play towards my team's strengths and not towards their weaknesses? Is he going to run the football? Is he going to get pass happy? All these things are some of the things I'm looking forward to when the Eagles start the season off, the first game of the year versus the Dallas Cowboys.
Is Kevin Patullo stupid? Like, did he not witness what happened last year? Now, here's the thing. Here's my big question. Can the passing game overcome the focus on stopping Saquon? I don't think there's any question that defensive coordinators are now going to be Saquon-centric and try to stop him. If I'm Patullo, I try to sharpen up the passing game because I'm going to need it. You already have the known. I mean, it's not like you have to like stay up late at night to know what you do best. But if they stop it, you got to have the counter, and that's where I think Kevin Patullo comes in. Not that he's like foolish enough not to rely on the running game. He's going to try to outsmart himself. Of course, they're going to rely on the running game. But I think the running game is going to be stopped a little more this year. So he's got to be able to shift. Do you agree with that, Ray?
Yeah, he's going to have to be able to shift, and they should be prepared for a time in which they don't have Saquon. Like, again, just going from the number of carries last season and the fact that you look at just what happens to running backs after that workload, he could take the best care of his body. To think that he is going to have the same level of health and the same level of availability he had a season ago, I think would be a little short-sighted.
If I'm Patullo, I work on things like play action. I work on dump-offs to Saquon to get him in space. I look to the middle of the field with the tight end. I do a lot of stuff with the passing game that has to counterbalance the fact that they're going to stop the straight run.
Yeah, and I think you have to use the middle of the field this year in the passing game. I think you have to, it was something we talked a lot following 2023 about why don't they go over the middle of the field, and they answered some of those questions last year. But I think there's still a lot that they need to answer in that passing game, especially with the fact you have Dallas Goedert you can use over the middle of the field, and you bring it up every week during football season. The slant. And I think those are things you need to see improved within this offense. And I think to what Harry Douglas is saying there, I don't see Patullo as their biggest obstacle to repeating.
He's presuming that Patullo is stupid. Now, he's young and he's new, but I don't think he's stupid. He's like guys that are around a football team for several years. They pay attention to what works.
Right. So, he's been here. He's seen what didn't work. He's seen what did work. I mean, I think the biggest question for him, and this will be a question I think that also goes with Sirianni, is how play calling works within this back and forth between the two of them, because it will be Patullo calling the plays, but I feel like that's a natural feel type of thing. Like, I think it's one of those traits, I don't know how you develop it, and right off the bat, whether or not he has it or not, could be interesting to watch this offense in real time, whether or not they sputter out of the gate because their play caller just doesn't know the flow of the game in that specific position. Like, that's something I would be concerned about with Patullo, because we saw the Sirianni, Brian Johnson back and forth in 23, where it's like, what is the play call structure here? Who's calling the plays? And do either of them have a true feel of how to call a game?
Yeah, we got a lot of things to do today. A lot of things to talk about. Eagle-wise, All-Star-wise, Philly-wise. A notion on who the most trusted coach in the city is. Did I hear our buddy Bill slander Rob Thompson yesterday?
Oh, we did.
Did he slander the Phillies manager yesterday? We'll get into that. It is General Knowledge Wednesday. Here is the prize. A $100 gift card to Primo Hoagies. Yes. Thanks to our friends at Primo Hoagies. They dropped off some trays for the staff today. Make sure to enjoy free delivery every Monday in July and August when you order online at PrimoHoagies.com or on the Primo Hoagies app. You must be a Primo Perks member. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo $100 gift card to Primo's Hoagies for today's General Knowledge. We'll give you the categories after this.
Thanks for watching. I love these outro videos because I can actually talk with my hands and it looks normal here. So subscribe right here and watch some more videos for us. How about it?